Hello guys, so we have started the new chapter, breathing and exchange of gases, and we have in the last class we have completed the human circulatory system. And let me just revise it. Oh, sorry, revise from the starting. I have told you that you need to be very sure that you need to learn that breathing and respiration are very different from each other. Breathing is a process of exchange of O2 from the atmosphere. We take oxygen from the atmosphere, then CO2 gets produced in the cell by the process of respiration, and this is the inhalation and exhalation of oxygen and CO2 from the atmosphere and to the atmosphere is termed as breathing. Breathing is just a part of respiration, it's not the true respiration. Respiration is something different which you will be going to study in this chapter. Breathing you will study in this chapter, but respiration is a whole process, like uh, the production of CO2 in the cells. Okay, that what respiration is, but breathing is just a part of respiration. We've talked about respiratory organs, like different organisms have different respiratory organs depending on their need and their habitat, their level of organization. We've talked about it, and we've also in the last class talked about the human respiratory system, that we have first we have two nostrils, two openings. Okay, then it goes and the air goes from the atmosphere. We take the air, we don't take the oxygen. Okay, in the air we have the different composition of gases, right? So we take air, not oxygen. Okay, we take air from the atmosphere, it goes from the nostril, and we have some hair and mucus in our nostril which helps to filter out our air, and it removes the foreign material. Okay, it removes and filtrates the air. Okay, then it passes from the nasal chamber to the from the nasal passage to the nasal chamber, then it goes to the pharynx, then larynx, which is the voice box, or we can say sound producing box, and it is a cartilaginous box. And then we have learned about epiglottis, which is like a flap, cartilaginous elastic flap, which helps to prevent the food from entering into the larynx. Okay, till here you are done. And I've also talked about trachea. Trachea is a straight tube, and it extends to the mid thoracic cavity, and at the fifth thoracic vertebrae, it gets divided into two parts, right and left primary bronchi. Okay, right and left primary bronchi. And then we have talked about, what is this? Then we have talked about that it gets converted, divided into primary, secondary, tertiary, and then bronchioles gets converted into divided into bronchioles. And bronchioles, after that I've talked about what? Tell me what I've talked about. Alveoli. Alveoli. Okay, alveoli is the irregular shaped elastic bag like structure, which is surround vascularized bag like structure, which is surrounded by millions of blood capillaries. Okay, we've talked about this diagram. Guys, let me tell you, this is the most important diagram. You have to learn it. I know that this will be going to come in the exam for very sure, so you have to learn it very well. So these components are very important. I've tell you that epiglottis is this part. It is a flap like structure, is a flap like structure, okay, which prevents the food from entering the larynx. I'm telling you it again and again so that it will stuck up in your mind. And talk about larynx. Trachea is a straight tube, then it passes and gets at the mid thoracic cavity. At the fifth level of thoracic cavity, trachea gets converted divided into two parts, bronchi, then right bronchi, and we have left bronchi. Okay, right and left bronchi. Then we have talked about bronchioles, then alveoli. Okay, now from today we are going to start up with the mechanism of breathing. Okay, breathing is the involves the two stages. What are these stages? First, inspiration, during which we take the atmospheric air into our body, like from our nostrils. And second one is expiration. Expiration is a process by which from the alveolar air it is expired out, like we release the CO2 in the atmosphere again, so it is expiration. Inspiration and expiration. Okay, so let me write it here for you. Breathing, it says that breathing involves two steps. There are only two steps, okay, which you need to learn. First one is inhalation. Something has happened to my pen. Second one is exhalation. Hope I'm clear. Breathing has two parts, inhalation and exhalation. Okay, then it's saying that by the alveolar air. Why it is used alveolar air? Because from the alveoli it gets diffused into the, I've told you that when the air gets into the alveoli, it has a very thin, I've told you tell you about it, that it has very thin wall, and due to the thin wall the air gets diffused into the blood capillaries, and due to which it when goes to the cell, in the cell by the process of respiration, CO2 gets produced, and that CO2 gets released out, that therefore it's used as alveolar air. Okay, and uh, one more thing that you need to learn is this. Guys, please note it down, learn it very well. The movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient. Okay, by creating a pressure gradient. By creating a pressure gradient, without pressure gradient it cannot be, it cannot be done. So we need to make the pressure gradient. Pressure gradient is very important, only then the movement of air can be possible. Okay, so between the lungs and, let me write it here, I don't like teaching like this. Okay, so this is your lungs, and this is what atmosphere. Lungs and atmosphere. Between the lungs and atmosphere, the movement of air from here to here, or from here to here, it needs a gradient. What kind of gradient? A pressure gradient. Now you must be thinking, what is pressure gradient? Pressure gradient means a gradient which moves, like, like the pressure moves from higher to lower pressure. Not pressure, I have to say, like, the air moves like from higher to lower pressure. So hope I'm clear with you that pressure, air moves from higher to lower. I'm enjoying doing it. Okay, so I hope so I'm clear that pressure gradient is very important, very important. If you have to, like, if you want the movement of air from lungs to air atmosphere, or from atmosphere to lungs. Okay, guys, please wait for some time. I feel that from here I am very much clear to all of you. Okay, next it says that a pressure gradient is very important. Pressure gradient, oh shit, I was thinking that it will work as a highlighter. Right now I'm not very handy to it. That's the reason why it's happening with me. Sorry guys. Okay, so I've told you that the movement of air, into and out of the lungs, it carried out by the process of creating a pressure gradient between the lungs or between the atmosphere. It could be anything. Okay, now we are going to talk about, there must be a contraction in the diaphragm, like when you inhale and when you exhale, when you do the basically you do the breathing, you have observed that there is a movement of your stomach also, your abdomen also, your diaphragm also. Okay, so that's what it's saying here. Look, this diagram will clear all your doubts. It looks very disgusting, but it is very simple. Look, the air enters from the lungs. Okay, from here air will enter. Okay, this is the volume. Thorax increase when the air is entering the lungs. The volume of the thoracic cavity will increase. No, it will increase because when you are filling the air, like just observe it, imagine it with the thinking of a balloon. When we fills the air, it get the volume got increased. No, so it will rise, right. So ribs and sternum will rise because I've told you ribs, it's the lateral part. It is the lateral part. And sternum is, tell me, it is dorsal or ventricle part. Okay, it is the ventricle part and it is the lateral part. So it will increase. Okay, and the volume will increase and the diaphragm will contract. Okay, this is the rib cage. The diaphragm will contract in this case. Now just talk about, what about expiration? When we expire, what happens then? The air is expelling out from our lungs to the surrounding, so the volume of the thorax will decrease. Okay, and the ribs, in the case of inhalation, the ribs and sternum were like raising, but here it will not raise, it will move into their original position. In the inhalation, it is the opposite of inhalation, right? And diaphragm, which was relaxed and arched upward. Okay, there in the inhalation, the diaphragm was like contracting. Okay, it was like contracting, but here the diaphragm is relaxed and it is upward. When the air is expelling out, it will look like this. No, that's the reason why it is flowing there. If it was it will be filling inside. Okay, hope some clear. And this was really easy to learn. And first one was inspiration, second one was expiration. I don't feel so there will be any problem in it. If you do have, please try to read it by your own. You will learn it very sure. Okay, next one is respiratory volumes and capacities. Is the chapter is done? It's almost done. No, we have to take another session also. Okay, the respiratory volume and capacities. What it says, respiratory volumes and capacities. What are these? Tidal volume. What is a tidal volume? The volume of air inspired during a normal respiration. The volume of air which we inspire, which we take from our which we take or release out in the atmosphere, it is that volume during a normal respiration. It is the volume during the normal respiration. Okay, and it is approx 500 ml, or a healthy person can inspire or expire approx 6000 to 800 ml of air per minute. Okay, and second one says inspiratory reserve volume. It is the additional volume of air a person can inspire. I think that today we have to stop it from here, and I will start it from tomorrow. From I will start from here from tomorrow. Okay, only a very few things are left. Okay, 2 to 3 will session will complete the chapter. Thank you very much for watching.